At 4 a.m., while most of the country was still asleep, police officers moved into a quiet Mitchell's Plain neighborhood. Lights flashing, doors knocked, a raid in motion. But this wasn't just another police operation. The target was a house linked to a sitting member of parliament. And now, that MP is publicly accusing a senior police general of orchestrating the entire raid and daring him to arrest him. Before we go deeper, like this video and subscribe so you don't miss updates as this story develops.
My name is Fadiel. I'm a member of parliament. I serve on the police portfolio where we attempt to hold the South African police accountable. Accountability does not exist within the South African police services. These people are a law upon themselves. On Saturday morning at 4 a.m., my previous residence was raided by the PKTT. I no longer live there. With a budget of hundreds of millions of rands a year, this corrupt unit can't even get an address right. The result of this, an innocent teacher, a 30-year-old female, had rifles pointed in her face. Her husband was made to lay on the ground in the middle of winter. A 12-year-old son was assaulted by something that claims to be a police officer. Who assaults a 12-year-old child? Physically. Because he woke up startled. This happened. A case was laid. I then went to the police station and laid a case of intimidation against the South African police services. I do believe that this raid is engineered by Lieutenant-General Mkhwanazi, the self-proclaimed savior of the South African police services. The weakest form of police commissioner this country has had in 30 years. The coward from KZN who ran away when the country needed him. And I'll tell you what. In the ad hoc committee, he claimed that I used a blue light escort to the prison in Westville. I was indeed escorted by Metro Police, not the South African Police Services, to the Westville prison, while on my official duty. Because I went to Westville prison to interview the killer of one of our finest, Sindisa Mkhaka. I think this country's forgotten about him. He was killed for exposing corruption in Durban. The killer has given me a written statement saying that he was escorted to the crime and from the scene by the South African Police Services. The killer wants to tell the truth. He wants nothing in exchange. Not a reduction of sentence, not a financial reward. Mkhwanazi hasn't sent a single policeman to go and hear this man's story. Not one. What Mkhwanazi has done, he's insinuated to Parliament that I've committed a crime. In the ad hoc committee, Mkhwanazi has said that there will be a conference call later where we will hear something about Adams. What you were supposed to hear was that Adams had contrived or corrupted or abused his power, whatever power he thinks I have, to obtain a blue light escort. The person implicated, the person who was supposed to make the statement, is Detective Sergeant Carlton Thomas, who has laid a charge against Mkhwanazi and Major General Gopal, because he claims that they forced him into a room where the cameras were set up and had written a script that he was supposed to incriminate me in front of the ad hoc. He refused. Therefore, that conference call never happened.
This matters right now because it's not just about one raid. It's about trust in law enforcement, abuse of power allegations, and a growing public confrontation between a politician and one of the country's top police leaders. When those two worlds collide, the entire system comes under pressure. The MP at the center of this storm is Fadiel of the National Colored Congress. He is known for being outspoken and direct, often challenging authority. On the other side is Lieutenant-General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, a senior police figure with decades of experience and major influence in law enforcement operations. The clash between them exploded after an early morning raid at a house in Mitchell's Plain. According to Adams, the property was one he used to live in until about 2 months ago. That immediately raises a key question: why target a place he no longer occupies? Adams claims the raid was not only unnecessary, but unlawful. And in a shocking accusation, he directly blames General Mkhwanazi for planning or engineering the operation. But here's where things get even more intense. Adams says he believes there is a warrant for his arrest, although he does not know what the charges are. Instead of backing down, he went public and issued a direct challenge, saying he would voluntarily present himself at any police station if they want to arrest him. That move turned a private legal concern into a public confrontation. Now, let's break down how this escalated. Adams references June 6, 2025, saying that on that date Mkhwanazi was praised by some as a hero. But Adams questions that image, suggesting that people are forgetting the general's past and long history in law enforcement. He even goes further, making controversial claims about actions during the apartheid era, suggesting the general was involved in operations against activists. Those are serious allegations that add political and historical weight to an already heated dispute. Then came the raid. Police reportedly arrived at 4 a.m. at the Mitchells' Plain property. The timing suggests urgency, but Adams insists there was no valid reason for such a heavy operation, especially at a house he no longer lives in. Shortly after, he held a media briefing, and that's where the situation exploded into public view. He called Mkhwanazi the weakest police commissioner in 30 years and a coward. He accused him of lacking respect for democracy and human dignity. But more importantly, he made a bold promise. He is not done. He said more evidence is coming and more charges will be filed this week. And that is where the story takes a sharp turn. Because if Adams truly has strong evidence, the next step could be formal legal action against a senior police official. But if not, then these accusations could escalate tensions even further between political and law enforcement institutions. What happened next raised serious questions. Why would police conduct a raid at a property linked to someone who no longer lives there? Was there a valid warrant? And if so, why is there confusion about its purpose? At the same time, if an arrest warrant exists against a sitting MP, why hasn't it been clearly communicated to the public? These contradictions are now at the center of the controversy. The political impact is already visible. Supporters of Adams see him as exposing possible abuse of power and standing up to authority. Critics say he is making serious allegations without presenting full proof and escalating tensions unnecessarily. On the law enforcement side, the silence has been noticeable. No detailed public explanation has fully addressed all claims yet, and that silence is fueling speculation. Social media reactions are divided. Some people are calling for accountability and transparency from police leadership. Others are warning that public accusations without evidence could damage trust in institutions. And this isn't just political drama. It has real consequences. When trust between law enforcement and elected officials breaks down publicly, it affects how citizens view the justice system as a whole. It raises questions about fairness, accountability, and whether power is being used correctly. Now, the big question is what happens next. If Adams follows through, formal charges could be filed and evidence presented. That could trigger investigations and possibly legal proceedings. If police respond with action, including an arrest or official statement, it could shift the situation into an even more serious phase. There is also the possibility of internal reviews if questions about the raid continue to grow. But for now, nothing is settled. What is clear is that this is far from over. Because at the heart of this conflict is not just a raid or a public statement, it's a growing battle over credibility, authority, and accountability. And the next move from either side could define how this entire story unfolds. So the question remains, are we witnessing a serious case of potential abuse of power being exposed, or a political confrontation escalating beyond control? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.